Hey guys, Donnie here. Welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, I want to give a big thanks to the few people that have already subscribed. I really do appreciate it. I didn't think that I would have anyone subscribed at the beginning, but that just goes to show that my family does like me, because it's mostly family. Oh shit, they're okay. You guys haven't met her, and you probably won't for some time. Mrs. Wife Donnie, Dammit Donnie, Mrs. Dammit Donnie is in the room as I'm recording this, and I wrangled her in. I just reeled her in. That's a fishing rod, not a lasso. Convinced her to help me with my first real episode. For today's episode, because it is the spookiest of seasons, our favorite time of year. Babe, what's your favorite time of year? Halloween. We decided to go ahead and review the 1982 movie Trick or Treats. Don't get your hopes up. It's not good.
Not as good as
Trick or Treat 2013 or whatever. 2007. 2019 is one too. I didn't know there was one 2019. Anyway, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Hold on, back up. It's spooky season, like we said. We're huge Nightmare Before Christmas fans. We love everything Tim Burton. Black is our aesthetic. We have two black cats. A tortoise. She's black right now because she's hiding, but normally she's brown. That's as close as you can get to black without it being black.
Oh, you stink!
I don't know. There was no joke there. Because Halloween is a little bit different this year because of the Backstreet Boys world tour that is happening, we are stuck at home. We'll probably be giving out candy this year, but we're going to try and do it smart, pre-packaged, insert sanitizing wipes, things like that. You know, Halloween is a very special time for us, not because we actually do anything. The past few years have been pretty boring, but we just love fall. We love the fashion, sweaters, boots, cardigans for her, not for, I've never worn a cardigan, I don't think. Do they make men's cardigans?
Yes.
Well, I don't have any, so.
Well, Christmas is coming.
I don't know that I want a cart. Okay. The evil look on her face. And you know, fall, she loves pumpkin. I love her pumpkin pie, but other than that, pumpkin stuff is not really my jam. I do love hot chocolate. I love any form of chocolate. I love Reese's pumpkin, you know, the I don't have one.
Peanut butter cup.
Pumpkin peanut butter cups, those are my fave. So are the Christmas tree ones though too. I think any,
They taste the same.
they all taste this. It's just the shape, whatever. Skulls, Day of the Dead, or
Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos, because my wife is 100% Mexican.
Mexicana.
And I'm only half, which would give us another video idea upcoming. We're going to be celebrating as best we can November 1st to share her heritage along with half of my heritage. And I'll be honest, I don't quite understand a lot of that part of my heritage. And then my white side, there is no such thing as heritage. We don't have anything going on. Well, unless I go real deep into my white people. I'm mostly Irish, Scandinavian, Mexican. I do have some Native American, but mostly on my Hispanic side. Anyway, getting way off track here. It is Halloween and we're celebrating the best way we can, watching horror movies. Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus. I wanted to get this video out in time for Halloween. I know it's only my first real video on this channel, and I hope we get to do lots more going forward. And I hope that maybe Wifey will help me in the future as well. So get ready, guys. We went on Amazon Prime, and this movie was in my watch list for some time, and I didn't read anything about it going into it. I forced Wife to watch it as soon as she got home, even though she was exhausted, and she did a good job keeping up with me. I appreciate that. She didn't fall asleep for once.
I know. I proved you wrong. You said I was.
Well, normally you do.
I was close. But that was just the movie's fault.
She validates me. She knows that she falls asleep. So here we go. Trick or Treat 2000. Wow. 1982. I keep getting the years. Whatever. The all-time hit movie starring Sam the Pumpkinhead Kid with the lollipop sucker.
I think you're confusing.
Oh, that's right. That was the good Trick or Treat. What were your thoughts on the video? Or on the movie, I should say.
It was very anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic. That's a good way to put it. I would say slow-paced.
Very.
Was there even a soundtrack, really? Like musical?
Yeah.
There was a very minimal musical score. Almost.
It was only when like something was going to happen.
And when something was.
A music for like 5 seconds.
Right. And when she says something was going to happen, nothing happened. Synopsis of the movie.
Hey, Dammit fam, this is Editor Donnie at the desk, realizing I did not put in a spoiler warning, so if you needed one, here it is.
We start off with zero context. Lady Joker, or this very skeletal-looking woman, has called apparently 2 70s porn star actors to take away her husband Malcolm, who's just reading the paper, not doing anything.
We have no idea why he was taken away.
No, we don't know what was going on, but he was taken away and put into a straitjacket after quite a tussle and a dip into the pool with white t-shirts. There were 3 instances of white see-through t-shirts who got wet in a pool in this movie. Oh, there's a cat attacking my leg! So yeah, Malcolm, the husband, gets put into an insane asylum for no reason.
But apparently, he didn't want to go back again.
Oh yeah, he did say, I don't want to go back again. She gives this devilish look into the camera as they're taking him away. Whatever. Flash forward, how many years did it say? 5 years?
I don't think they gave a number. I think
It just said
several.
sometime later. I wish I knew how long because there's a kid. We don't know if it's Malcolm's kid or if it's David Carradine's kid. Oh, shout out to the David Carradine cameo. Old David Carradine who looks just like young David Carradine. David Carradine plays the new husband to the skeletal woman. Richard? His name is Richard. I didn't catch that. And her name is Joan. And they have a pudgy little head of a kid named Chris. And they are apparently going to a Halloween party that requires plane tickets, but they'll be back the next day.
Have you got the airplane tickets?
Yep, right.
And the address?
They took a suitcase and already wore their Halloween costumes before the flight to the Halloween party that will end with enough time for them to fly back, if I understood that part correctly. So they hire a babysitter, insert Linda, right? Her name's Linda. We get the obligatory shower scene, but no nudity in this one. For a crappy horror movie, there wasn't even cursing either, huh? What was this rated? It was rated R. There was no cursing, no nudity, and the blood was very minimal. So they call Linda, who I guess works for a babysitting service, to come and babysit for them. Of course, she has to give up her boyfriend's play that he's in. He's playing Othello. Opening night for Othello. But you know what? They never really brought the boyfriend in. They showed him on a couple phone calls, but he didn't come to the house ever, right? I don't know why they introduced the boyfriend. All they did was like use him as exposition to say that the little kid was being a monster. So this little kid, right? He's a wannabe magician, and okay, what does he do? Let's name all the things he does to this poor babysitter. So he cuts off his head first. The first introduction, he cuts off his head in a guillotine. He shocks her with the electric handshake thing, which is that's not that bad. He uses several smoke bombs. Where's he getting these smoke bombs?
Well, we did learn that the mom, because she was never there, would buy him everything.
Bought him everything. He somehow managed to escape the house, popped up in several weird-looking masks.
He had a lot of them.
He pretended to drown, and then she was giving him CPR. And by CPR in quotes, I mean she was just like making out with him. It wasn't even him making out with her, a la The Sandlot, which is what I said. Like, oh, that's like The Sandlot. Yeah. No, she was just straight up like sucking face with this kid. He cut off his thumb, like a fake thumb.
He was cutting salami to pretend he cut.
Yeah, he cut a lot of salami. No wonder he's fat. He like the fake milk on the carpet. He cut his throat in the bed. Now, I thought he was dead at that point. Anyway, we're getting too far ahead. What else did he do? Oh, yeah, so he ties the string to the knocker on the door.
He kept knocking it back and forth.
And okay, how many times, if that happened to you and there was no one there, how many times would you open the door?
Probably just the one.
The once, right?
And if I didn't hear anybody, because usually you hear trick or treat.
Okay, but if there was no one there and you opened the door once, would you open it again a second time?
Possibly.
Would you open it a third time?
No.
How about a fourth time?
Probably not.
Fifth?
No.
How many times did she open the door?
About 6.
I would say 6 or 7 times she opened that door. And she even walked through the string that was knocking the door using the like.
She stood right in front of me.
Yeah, so she should have. Anyway, that was hilarious. This kid is just a monster the whole time. So then we cut back to Malcolm in the insane asylum a couple times in this drab, like just a blank gray room with crazy people in it. Which, by the way, these crazy people, I think they were the best actors of the entire movie. The guy giving him pretend stitches was amazing. He was sewing up his... Oh yeah! It's like he was like tying up his gown over and over. The guy in the background with the tissue paper I thought was hilarious. Just
Levitating it with his
levitating, yeah. The lady smoking a cigarette with her nose. Smoking those boogers. And Malcolm's in this insane asylum and he's talking to Pudgy Chandler from Friends. What's his name? Matthew Perry. No, I just mean he looked like Chandler from Friends. That's the first thing I thought when I saw his face, was he looked like Chandler. He wants to escape the asylum. You don't hear why at first, right? Obviously it's for revenge. He wants to get revenge on his ex-wife Joan. We come to find out he's some multi-millionaire executive and she sent him to an insane asylum just to get him out of the way. So she marries David Carradine, who's a creep who hits on the babysitter.
First thing he does is sit down.
Oh yeah, I thought he was going to take off her little outfit all the way. And so what's his plot to escape the insane asylum?
He
Well,
tells his friend.
Bert. He's going to escape. And
He's gonna help him by snoring.
Bert warns him not to try because last time he tried to escape, they knocked his teeth out, and in fact, he does not have teeth. So I wonder if there's a little glimmer of truth in that. And so he asks Bert to snore loudly, and when he does so, does the snoring actually do anything?
Well,
No. So in the room where they're sleeping, a bunch of beds appeared in the gray room that was the insane asylum, and nurses checking each one to make sure they're asleep, right? First guy, blanket over his head, quoting like Julius Caesar or something. The second guy is Bert, and he is snoring, and she grabs his nose to stop him, and he just snores louder and then turns over. Great. And then so he moves over to Malcolm's bed, and the snoring doesn't do anything. He just puts a handkerchief over her mouth. Right, which I thought at first maybe the handkerchief had ether on it or something to knock her out, or what is it called?
put her to sleep.
No, he shoves it in her mouth, and then shoves a pillow on her face, and then flips her over and mounts her. And what were your words, babe?
She was getting too excited.
She's getting a little too excited. I come to find out later on, she was very excited at the way Malcolm incapacitated her.
I devoured it. He responded to me in a way that no man ever has.
Yeah, something like that. She apparently had a wig on, and lucky she had the wig, because he then dressed up like her, took her clothes, took her wig, and tricked not only the security guard, a bunch of young drunk guys out on the street, a couple of homeless men, the guy in the diner, the police officer on the stolen car that he stole. He tricked all these men into thinking that he was a woman. Oh, and the friend, Andrea, later. He goes, yoo-hoo! And she thinks that it's Linda. Apparently, he's the most attractive woman that anyone had ever seen.
It's a mustache, babe.
He didn't have a mustache. He just had that 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah. Sporadically, we switch back and forth between the kid terrorizing Linda at the house and Malcolm making his way to the house to take revenge on Joan. Along the way, he stops to make his phone calls, heavy breathing, growling, saying, "I'm gonna come visit you," or something like that. "I'm coming to visit you." He stops at a coffee shop to get a cup of coffee, but his real motive was to steal a knife, which you could just take the knife from the house if you're gonna sneak in anyway, right? And we cut to Malcolm's on his way there. Oh, also there's been trick-or-treaters all night long. Every little kid wants to have sex with Linda. All of them do. And don't get me wrong, like, she's fine, but she looks way older than I think that she was meant to be playing, right? Like, she was supposed to be like 19, 20, 21. She looked 35, maybe. Then we cut to these two new characters out of nowhere. I was super confused because I went to the restroom. I had no idea who these two girls were. They were editing a movie out of nowhere. But you know what? I thought about it later. They did tie it back to the beginning because she had said she tried out for a part where she was speaking French. Her agent needed a tape from these two new random characters that we had. Andrea, and then I don't think we got the other girl's name. Connie. And oh, you looking this up over there? She calls these two characters, and it's, I would say, the middle of the night on Halloween night, or at least like 10, 11 o'clock at night, right? But she calls her because her agent needs the tape that she did her little audition on. And what does Andrea say? She asks where she's babysitting, where Linda is babysitting. Tells her, oh, the Wilshire district. And Andrea...
I'll stop by. Who does her hair in the middle of the
Yeah,
night?
Andrea's hairdresser is near the Wilshire district. And she was already planning on going to get her hair done at 10 o'clock at night on Halloween.
Why?
I don't know. To put her in the house. She's knife fodder. She was just there to die. And she does eventually go to the house, but not before Malcolm. Malcolm gets there first. But anyway, so they were fighting in the garage, and she had left the front door open from the last trick-or-treaters. And Malcolm comes in and immediately runs upstairs. I mean, he looks around a little bit, but he goes upstairs to the attic and hides. And plays with a train set that, like, he stares at, like, pensively. But, I mean, it's like his old stuff. You would think that the wife would get rid of it, first of all. But also, they didn't show him having any interest in that at all. So, like, why have a... It's like they wanted to have a callback to all his stuff, but they didn't set it up at the beginning. I don't know. He goes up and hides in the attic right as Andrea gets there. And Andrea lets herself into this house. It's not Linda's house. Linda's babysitting at a stranger's house. Well, yeah, so say the door's open, you might knock and peek your head in. If I were dropping something off, I'd leave it in the entryway and be like, okay, and then like I would call her.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
I missed you.
No, Andrea snoops the entire house, goes into this kid's room, which this kid's room, can we talk about the color scheme of this kid's room?
It's like a Bob Marley.
Very, very Rastafarian. I said, what's it called? Fruit stripe? Zebra stripe? That gum. Zebra stripe gum. That's what it looked like to me. So she snoops the entire house, goes up to the attic, and there Malcolm is with a knife. If Andrea hadn't been such a nosy Nelly and stopped snooping, she would have gotten out of there fine. And Malcolm stabs her. Once, right? In the chest.
Yeah, somehow that's right.
And the blood covered her entire face. And chest. And he's very, very remorseful because he realizes that's not Joan. He was there.
Stupid, you're not Joan.
Yeah, he called her stupid for not being Joan.
Stupid.
And so she's dead. That's the first death
That was the only death
that we saw
that we saw.
at the end. But we won't get there yet. It took like 5 minutes for Andrea to traverse from the front door to the attic. And the whole time Linda was just standing outside trying to spook Chris. Like, why didn't she come inside the house earlier? I don't know. That was my biggest complaint. It's like she took forever to come inside.
I know you were like, where is she?
She's out there forever. I think at that point she had kind of made peace with Chris, right? He put himself to bed. They were kind of joking around. She had a glass of wine. She was loosening up a little bit. So then she sits down to have a glass of wine after calling her boyfriend. Her boyfriend told her finally to call the police, but the cops don't do anything because she just called about the obscene phone calls. Unless you're dead, we can't do anything. And then at that point, Malcolm shows up behind her finally. She's about to turn around. No, don't turn around. Don't look at me. Because he's looking for Joan.
He kept calling her Joan.
I wonder if this whole thing could have been avoided if she just turned around the first time. He didn't want to hurt anyone else besides Joan. He was looking for Joan.
But she was wearing Joan's nightgown.
She was wearing Joan's nightgown because she got wet when the little boy tried to drown himself to get a kiss. He did hold his breath for a really long time. And the kid had gone to bed and he had put fake blood on his neck. And this is before Malcolm appeared. I thought Malcolm killed him because he stood in the kid's room with a bloody knife. And he had already wiped the blood off after he killed Andrea. That's the first thing he did. So where did that blood come from? Who did he cut? Did he cut himself? Because you find out later that Chris isn't dead.
But Chris did know there was a man with a knife.
And he did know there was a... Okay, hold on. We're getting too far ahead. So there's like a 7-minute chase scene where each time Malcolm can't see Linda's face, because if he saw Linda's face, that would end his motivation. He thought he was Joan the whole time, complaining about how she took his life away from him. He goes up to the garage. He sees all his like toys because Linda went up there and ran to the attic in the garage. And she like tricks him by slipping behind him as he's climbing the ladder, which is hilarious. They're like 2 inches away from each other. I mean, peripherals. He's got bad peripheral vision. And she runs inside finally. We're getting close to the end of the movie. She goes upstairs and runs into Chris's room and sticks like a magician's staff underneath the door to lock the door. And then Chris wakes up, and I thought he was dead the whole time.
Yeah, he goes like, oh, it's Halloween over?
No, yeah, I must have dozed off. Is Halloween over? There's a man in the house, and Chris is like, oh, you mean the guy with the big knife? How did he know that and then go to sleep? They look at each other. They're like, maybe we should do one more trick. And then they look at the guillotine, and I was like, oh, well, they're gonna chop the guy's head off. I said that he was gonna bust through the door, and they were gonna push the guillotine up to the door, and he would stick his head through, and they would cut it off. No.
Malcolm goes around. Apparently
But there was a door on. I thought that was the kid's window.
So did I.
Apparently, there was a door that led to nowhere, off the side of the house that Malcolm comes through, and luckily for Linda, she managed to shimmy shammy around the guillotine, and he still sticks his head through, and then Chris lets go of the rope and cuts the guy's head. Doesn't cut it off, goes through like his neck, whatever, and he's bleeding.
There's blood coming out of his
And so this is the worst or the best part, I don't know. Linda like is all and the acting, by the way, yeah, she's crying. She's like, I better go call the police. She goes downstairs and she first sits down on the couch and like waits a minute before she calls. But anyway, then you go to see Chris staring at Malcolm. We don't know, is it his dad?
We don't know if
If it's his dad and he knows that it's his dad, it makes a little bit more sense. Because one, he wouldn't be scared that he's there with the knife. And two, when he picks up the knife at the end after Malcolm is dead, he gets this creepy grin on his face. And as it flashes to Linda calling the police, I'd like to report a death. And then Chris pops up and freeze frame, stab in the back.
We don't know, though.
We don't know, but oh, I guess they could be implying that he's playing another trick. But okay, so if he's now a killer, what set him off? Seeing a dead guy. Seeing a dead guy with a knife. Is it his dad? You don't see the kid at the beginning. The lady wasn't pregnant. She's a stick. She's the skinny. I said that before. She looks like the Joker, especially when she's in her Halloween costume. She looks like the Joker from the cartoon animated series. Roll credits. This terrible, terrible movie. It had been in my Amazon watch list for a while because I saw Trick or Treat. I saw 1982. I didn't look at the ratings. I didn't read the caption or anything like that. I thought, okay, maybe this is just a clever, cheesy movie. No, this was bad. It was definitely slow.
It's the climax. The climax of the movie took forever.
Was there a climax besides the one that the nurse had in the bed? Well, that was Trick or Treats with an S. If we were to give this a rating, what would you give it out of 10? Oh, one what?
1 star.
Stars?
Well, I saw the ratings just now.
What are the ratings? Oh yeah, that's a good. What's the rating?
2.5 stars.
On Amazon or on IMDb? Can you look up the Rotten Tomatoes real quick?
Rotten Tomatoes?
What's our rating system here, babe?
Let's go based on stars.
That's boring.
I got cat paws. How many cat paws?
We're doing cat paws? We can do that. All right, so you give this 1 cat paw out of 10?
And that's me being nice.
Oh, if she could go lower, she would.
And IMDb is 2 stars.
2 stars out of 5? I was going to be generous and give 3 stars out of 10 just because there was a little bit of hilarity. I don't know if they intended it to be a comedy, right? I'm going to knock off a star because there was no nudity. Well, gratuitous nudity is what horror movies are known for. So 2 stars out of 10 for me, 1 star out of 10 from Wifey Bay over here. I would say don't waste your time. Don't watch it. Well, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw and if you liked our banter over this movie, I hope you'll give us a like and subscribe. Go ahead and click subscribe right down there. It helps me a lot. These hard times, I hope you guys are all staying safe out there. Make sure you're washing your hands. Try not to go to too many parties. I know things seem like they're getting better because stuff's opening up, but there is a 3rd wave of the Backstreet Boys World Tour. They just don't quit. But in all seriousness, stay safe out there, guys. And don't forget, less than a week away, make sure you vote. We will not get political or religious on this channel, but it is important in the United States. Make sure you do vote. Your voice does matter. You can't make change without putting in that vote. Right, baby? Did you vote? Yeah. See you guys in the next one. Thanks.
You want to loan me a little money to go back where I come from?
Take it. Here, take it. Keep warm. Keep warm. Keep warm.
You remember me?